We're going to talk about not leaving the body behind on this spiritual evolution. This has kind of been a big topic between me and my team, and I've been meaning to make a video about it because it's become really, really strong that this is important and it's not something that's being talked about. The message so strongly of this time we are not leaving the body behind. When we go back to spiritual text, right? All spiritual text really does touch on the basis of consciousness, right? But at this point, all religious text, or I'll say application of religious texts, is a complete distortion. When we really look at sacred ritual going all the way back to indigenous cultures, it is very body connected, actually, right? We see this in dance and ritual and ceremony. The whole process of ceremony, right, is connection with the body in connection to spirit, right? So again, that concept has become distorted to, again, identify a temple outside of ourselves and consciousness as something that we seek through the temple of an external entity, right? So this is why this concept is so important as we truly align in this era of high consciousness and shifting the consciousness on this planet, is that our body is the temple of our consciousness, right? We are the divine temple. We are God. We are not separate from the identity of creation, right? So because of the distortion, right, we've entered the place of mind over body, right? Masculine over feminine. And again, I'm going to talk about this in the context of masculine and feminine. Please remove your human ego from what I'm saying and recognize that I'm talking about energies, and that anything that we've seen show up in physicality in either gender or feminine, masculine expression, again, is that it's an expression of these identities that are and it's an expression of these energies that actually should be in union within us, right? That's the intention, is for us to get back into union with ourselves, feminine and masculine, our divine consciousness and our temple, and divine unity. This dualistic reality we live in, everyone thinks duality is part of consciousness. It's not. The duality is the distortion of this realm because we're not in unity within ourselves, within the collective, within consciousness, right? So part of this restoration of unity consciousness begins with honoring the feminine being the body, right? The body is the feminine expression of consciousness. So we're now actually going to honor the feminine, we're going to honor the body, and we're going to recognize her and bring her into unity with consciousness, right? So going back to these distorted texts throughout time, right, they all became patriarchal. All religious text is patriarchal. All religious texts, I'm going to say it again, all religious texts are patriarchal, or they've been buried, right? We know there's a lot of divine feminine goddess wisdom that has been buried, right? So I want to touch on like Shiva Shakti energy, right? Because even when we go back to, Hinduism, Buddhism, that area of the world holds some of the most ancient and sacred texts and information. However, complete distortion of masculine identity as well. And the idea of reconnecting with Shiva as all, right? And then forgetting the body, the illusion of the body, right? This consciousness or this physical reality is illusion, right? And so therefore we're breaking out of the illusion and stepping into divine consciousness, right? So those are, in short, the teachings. But again, this is where the distortion on the planet has come into form, because we are still viewing the masculine and God and divine connection, right, as a spiritual hierarchical, right? Because the truth is matter, mama is matter, physical, Shakti is material. And so by denying the material, we're denying the feminine and we're denying unity, and we're actually living in a distorted version of consciousness. This is spiritual avoidance. And this is funny, right? Because then we see this show up in the dynamic of masculine energy on the planet, right? The masculine as a whole is extremely avoidant of honoring and acknowledging the feminine, mama, the earth, Gaia's divine gifts, right? We've actually deemed masculine qualities more valuable than feminine qualities. We value doing over being, brain over body, loud over subtle, right? These are not inherent. Like we have this, like the belief of doing, for example, like culturally, collectively, we truly believe that doing holds more value than being, that rest does not hold value, right? This is why everyone is struggling and suffering and exhausted, right? Because we're running on a linear patriarchal idea of existence. The body needs rest, recovery, ceremony, ritual, right? That is honoring our divine temple within. If we're in the realm of doing and masculine, we're constantly in the search for something outside of us, this hierarchical achievement, right? If I follow step 1 through 10, then I'm going to achieve a enlightenment, right? The feminine knows it's not like that. It's not linear. It's messy. Healing is deep and dark and painful and fluid. And I mean, we can see this at the extent of which we don't even value the creation of human life anymore. We don't honor women as the vessel, literally the creator of life. And we do not honor that. We do not honor that. And man, in his distortion of conquering, right, has forgotten his partner. He's forgotten the body. He's forgotten the earth, right? We've seen this play out in every form. We have destroyed Gaia, taken all of her resources for our own use without any recollection of how we're affecting her environment. We do this to our individual bodies, right? We're like, oh, I'm exhausted, I need to rest. But then we're like, oh no, I have to do things. I have to do the stuff and things and doing stuff and things. That is the lie that you're keeping yourself trapped in. And you know, you can be mad at me for saying that. I have real things to do. Okay, cool. Keep doing them. Keep doing them. Keep doing your things and stuff. Okay. See how long it takes you to crash. See how long it takes you to crash. Keep going. Keep going. Go ahead. Because when you're ready to stop suffering, you're going to acknowledge your body. You're going to acknowledge the part of you that you haven't let rest because you've been running on a rat race conditioning that is non-conducive to your internal evolution. So this is why breaking the patriarch is literally the essential key to rebalancing energy on this planet. When we recognize that matter is literally God consciousness, right? So, and just for reference, if in this video and in any videos that I create, when I reference the term God, I am speaking on divine consciousness. I am not speaking on this delusional male figure in the sky that people have fucking deemed God, okay? So please know that I'm talking about cosmic consciousness. The distortion is the male identity that we've created of God. We are all God, right? That's the point of this video. So don't get lost on the word. I'm saying matter is all cosmic consciousness. We are all cosmic consciousness. Therefore, we are not locked out from consciousness. That's why this era is about soul sovereignty, finding inner wisdom, finding transcendence within. This is why, again, with all the distortion, just like everything else that's distorted right now, like if you don't know we're in an apocalypse, all you got to do is look around, right? The distortion is so next level, right? Religious people have gone all the way buck wild AWOL, right? Like those people have gone psychotic. And then we have this other spectrum of complete distortion, right? People chopping and screwing their body like women aren't even real anymore. That's how distorted we are, is that every single thing that women are doing to their body is fake. It's not even real. Literally cutting their body and injecting plastic. And then that's literally plastic melting into your brain. That's how distorted we are. And if you look back at ancient texts or civilizations, right, this is always the distortion. We are in the Tower of Babel, right? This is the distortion that comes along with the fall and the crash of humanity. So this is why we're seeing this play out so heavily. This is also why we are in such extreme cases of illness, right? Within the body, everyone is sick and dying and in extreme illness. This has to do, again, with the distortion and the rejection of the body, right? The denying of the vessel. Because when we're in true alignment with our being, we honor our temple. We honor what we put in our temple. We honor what we do with our temple. We honor what we create from our temple. That is true alignment with consciousness. That is true unity consciousness. And that is true alignment of cosmic divine action within ourself, right? Or being, not action, just being. And both, right? Being and taking action from that place, right? That's when we step out of the do illusion, right? Oh, I have these things and stuff and I'm important. I do these things and I'm important. That's a fucking distortion. You just being in your essence of existence is enough. It's enough as is. That is divine consciousness. You being locked out is your own internal experience of feeling unworthy from your true cosmic essence. This is why so many cults are formed, right? Because religion is like the spiritual quick fix, right? If Jesus will save me, then I don't have to do the inner work. If Jesus died for my suffering, then I can just accredit my entire existence to him. First of all, that's not even his fucking name. And he has a wife. He had a wife. So whatever weird ass lies these churches have been telling people to keep them in distortion is like the greatest cult consciousness of all time, right? You believe some predator preaching lies because you have no sovereign authority over your own soul. That is the truth. That's why there's so many trash religions. That's why there's so many cults. And that's why there's so much distortion of spiritual identity. Yeah, and no, people don't like what I'm saying. And I don't give a fuck because I'm really fucking tired. I'm really fucking tired about hearing about him without hearing about her. I'm really fucking tired of hearing about people talk about God when you're talking about demons. I'm really fucking tired of religions acting like they are the doorway to consciousness when they are in actuality the doorway to disillusioned consciousness and handing your power to an externalized presence. That's the motherfucking truth. How are you going to sit here and honor a male god without recognizing that the feminine brings life? If you cannot see that that in and of itself is the most disturbing distortion of our reality, then you're drinking your own fucking Kool-Aid. And this is how deep it is. Okay? Hear me out. Because this is conditioned so fucking deeply that if you're a man, if you are a man or in masculine energy, right? And you believe that your masculine pursuit, your masculine doer, doing, acting, performing, achieving is greater than divine feminine being and existing and creating, then you are in distortion. Then you are in a distortion of masculine identity. This is why all spiritual texts talks about transcending the illusion, the body is unworthy, and there's a specific gateway to consciousness. And so why is our planet still in suffering and chaos? Because that's not the fucking roadmap. That's why. That's not the fucking roadmap. That's half of the roadmap. Because we still created this reality that we're living in this matrix, right? An expression of reality is still here. You can call it whatever the fuck you want to call it, a story, a play, a projection. We can say whatever the fuck it is, but it's still a reality that we have collectively created. So to transcend this reality and leave it behind, as in the body is unworthy, this experience is unworthy, right? We have to transcend this unworthy reality to connect with God, is that now we're deeming our holy vessel unholy. Same thing with Gaia. Right now we've deemed Gaia unholy, and so we have, because look at her. Look at the feminine. Look at Gaia. Yeah, she looks real unworthy now from the way that we've been treating her. We're injecting plastic in her too. The feminine is the bridge. Do you think this is the first storyline that beings are like, oh, oops, we fucked up a planet. Let's just pack up and blow this popsicle stand. We'll just leave the dust. It's not the first time. And what happens when our souls don't learn the lessons that we need to learn? We do it again. We repeat it over and over until you figure it the fuck out. This is the time, as a collective, that we figure it the fuck out. This is why she's angry. This is why the peace, love, and light and all this bypassing spiritual bullshit is getting canned, because it's not real. The feminine is volcanic power rising. She's fucking pissed. She's fucking tired. And she's not going to be suppressed or forgotten or abandoned anymore. It's time for this little fake ass masculine fucking distortion god to be put the fuck to rest, because true cosmic consciousness is unity of feminine and masculine energy. Any religion or group of anything where you are locked out based on a hierarchical structure is a distortion. There is no hierarchy in spirit. Is there consciousness evolution? Absolutely. But there is no hierarchy. That is ego. That is a distortion of the ego. And this is the huge part of men awakening. The masculine awakening is having to realize this, right? They were trying to follow steps 1 through 10 to enlightenment, and then they had a total meltdown, right? Because the feminine is the cathartic processing, right? The feminine is what we've been storing in the body. Your masculine energy try to keep going. They try to keep being strong. They try to suppress all the pain and suffering of your entire reality into the body. And your body is screaming to be heard. Screaming to be heard. That is the feminine suppressed. And she's not going to be quiet anymore. If you've been suppressing pain in your body, it's loud now. Am I right? It's loud now. She will not be silent anymore. She will not be silent anymore. She's not going to let you keep running your little rat race while she's suffering, right? I'm talking about you inside. I'm talking about your girlfriend. I'm talking about your wife. I'm talking about the feminine version of you. I'm talking about Gaia. I'm talking about your life well-being. I'm talking about the way that you treat yourself. I'm talking about if you went and worked 12 hours and all you ate was like a Slim Jim. No, you're not taking care of her. Check yourself. You're not taking care of her. And real talk, if that's how you're acting, don't think you can take care of a real woman if you cannot take care of your own internal feminine. You're starving your body to get work done, okay? How you going to take care of a wife? Just sit with that, because this is the reality that we've created, right? And this is the acceptable roles that we've created as well, right? Like, this is when I had talked about the distortion of the masculine, right? And redefining what that means, because that is not the masculine role, is to be out giving his time and energy to doing in a system that isn't actually getting you anywhere. Be honest with yourself, though. How many times have you been exhausted and needed rest or needed food or needed something to caretake your experience, and instead of doing that, you chose to go harder, work faster, longer, stronger? And then let me ask you this. Not only how did that affect your body, how did that affect the woman in your life? Does she feel provided for? When you come home and you're like, oh, I did all these things for all these hours. And she's like, cool. You know, oh, you don't appreciate me. You didn't even show up for her. You think that's what she wants, is for you to go be this like fake masculine identity? Look at the things that I did for you. Look at the ways I provided for you. That's ego, my friend. You're not seeing her. You're not there for her. That is not you showing up for her. Let me be very, very clear about this, because this is the masculine distortion. That is not you showing up for your partner. In the same way, it is not you showing up for your body, right? And I can tell you, as someone who has been through very extreme illness and burnout over and over again, until I truly honored myself, my state of being, my body, and my rhythm. If you're walking around feeling tired, ill, your shoulders are hunched, exhausted, these are all distorted energies of the self that you're creating in your own self. You are creating illness because you're not honoring your body. That is the truth. Health is not an external experience, right? Health is internal, and anything external is supporting or taking away from that. So the illness isn't even just the treatment of the body, right? The illness is that you're choosing to suppression and suffering for your body, for the extent of which your brain, it's not your mind, this is what your brain thinks its contribution is. And this is also why I talk about the huge distinction between the brain and the mind, because again, we've been in distortion. The brain has very much been confused with the mind, so much so that we've been like seeking consciousness scientifically, like we've been seeking consciousness in the brain. It's the most hilarious shit. It's just like humans are hysterical. Anyways, consciousness is not in the brain. The brain is a systematic program that runs and functions within your body, right? Your brain is the one telling you that you have to do the things and the stuff. Your brain is conditioned by your upbringing, society, and the systems around us. It has nothing to do with clear consciousness. The mind is our higher programming. It's our ability to override the brain consciousness, the body consciousness, right? And so again, this is why in many sacred texts, it's about connecting into the mind, the sacred mind. And here's the distortion, where the body no longer exists, right? That's the intention, is to become enlightened so the body no longer exists. That is delusional, right? That's delusional, because our consciousness, our mind, in our collective conscious mind, even in cosmic stardust form, right? created this physical reality. Like I said, whatever you want to call it, a projection. If we're particles, if we're just a visual rendering, right, of cosmic identity, that's really what we are here. But it's still an expression of consciousness. It's still an expression of mind. So to recognize the mind and to deny the body is denying the physical vessel we're inhabiting to recognize consciousness. And the truth is, if you're connected to that, you can travel to any interdimensional space from this vessel. You don't need to forget your vessel to connect to consciousness. And we have many vessels of consciousness, right? This is a form. But when we recognize that, right, here's the key, is that creation, this is the act of creation, right? This is the beauty of creation, okay? Cosmic consciousness creating form, right? That is creation. That is cosmic expression. That is true. Like, we're going to talk about all that is God consciousness, cosmic consciousness in expression. That is the greatest form of reality, is consciousness expressing itself, right? That is the all. That is the one. That is, right? That is consciousness expressing itself. Consciousness creating matter. That is the unity. That is the expression. God consciousness exists through expression. The material is the expression, right? To acknowledge consciousness without acknowledging the expression, is it really acknowledging consciousness? You know? The whole point is expression. The whole point is creation. So no, we're not leaving our expression behind. We're not leaving Gaia behind. We have the ability in this lifetime to claim our cosmic consciousness and express in a way that shifts this reality. That's what we have the ability to do here. This is the true conscious evolution. And this is where past cosmic failures have happened. This is why we've told this story over and over again. This is nothing new to us. We have been here many times. Every single time we scrap the expression to reunite with consciousness, and therefore we create the same distortion. What's different this time? We alter the expression and elevate the consciousness. We do not leave our expression, our creation behind. Gaia is our collective consciousness baby and or partner, right? We are co-creating with her. She is conscious. She is also a conscious vessel we have tried to leave behind. And what happens when we leave consciousness behind? We create separation. We create duality. Thus, the expression of this reality. The only way to end the distortion of separation and duality is to come into divine unity within ourselves, within the collective, and within the planet. And a lot of people stay under the belief of like, well, there's nothing I can do. Like, let me just keep going in my loop because there's nothing I can change or do or whatever. But if you truly remove yourself, first of all, from the idea that that's getting you anywhere or that's what you're supposed to be doing, right? Then you can even begin to recognize your space and purpose in conscious evolution. There is no major thing, right? There is no hero role. We are all a piece of the puzzle. And when we choose to embody that alignment of ourselves and that true purpose within ourselves and that true connection and alignment, then our piece fits into the greater puzzle. And then we become part of the shift. that changes consciousness. We don't change consciousness by trying to fix things outside of ourselves or by saying, oh, well, the world is fucked, so I can't do anything. That is the illusion that they want you to believe, is that you're stuck, you cannot do anything, and that you should just stay in your hole. When in actuality, just by you shifting into alignment with your own life, your own self, just by switching into unity consciousness within yourself, you create a ripple effect and frequency that has an effect on greater consciousness. That is the truth. The illusion isn't around if matter is real or not real, right? It's around the distortion of matter. Matter is just the expression. So whatever your consciousness is, you are expressing that consciousness into form. That's it. That's why I talk about the distortion of creation, right? We want to manifest things in our life, but if you're in a distorted energy, your expression is distorted. So when you come into alignment with yourself, you are acting from a place of alignment, not distortion. It's a different frequency. That's a different energy. And because we're literally all sound, right? We're all energy, we're all sound, we're all math, we're all art. It's all the same. We're a reverberating frequency. What sound are you creating in the ether?